The iPad Pro. Let's talk about it. So this is the iPad Pro 11-inch, and it's something that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. Now we'll get into that later on in the video, but I bought this, as you would have seen in a previous video, when I was back in the UK, because iPads in the UK and Apple devices in the UK have FaceTime versus the ones in the UAE, Dubai, where I teach, they don't. So it made more sense to buy it when I was back in the UK. However, one of the major issues I had when I bought the iPad in the UK is I came to Dubai and it stayed in my bag. It stayed in my bag for about a month and I just didn't really use it. So we'll talk about that later on and some of the things that I did to counteract that issue and why I'm now loving it. However, one of the things that I have at the moment is I'm having a bit of a heart attack holding it like this at the moment. This is an extremely expensive device and I bought this to explore a range of educational apps, to utilize some of the educational apps and to hopefully make video tutorials on how to use them in your classroom. So it made sense to buy an iPad because I didn't have one, and also so that it can help me with some of the productivity. I always try and emphasize the importance of productivity and efficiency as a teacher so that you have more time for well-being yourself. So why the Pro? That's a fantastic question because I could have just bought an iPad 8 or an iPad Air or something along those lines that have recently come out. However, I decided to go for the Pro because of, well, this channel, to be completely honest with you. As a teacher and I hate the word, YouTuber, things that are going to be as efficient as possible. Now, my aim with having the iPad Pro is that it is one of the strongest, fastest devices out there and becomes a fantastic productivity tool. The aim of having the iPad Pro is so that I can use and utilize tools such as LumaFusion so that I can create my A-cuts on the go, and when I come back then edit on Final Cut Pro altogether. So it made sense for me to buy that. However, holding it like this, it gives me a little bit of a heart attack because it is, like I said, such an expensive device. So as a result, this is the Magic Keyboard that now works for iPad Air and the 11-inch iPad Pro, and it is fantastic. However, there are a few flaws. It's really good for productivity. As you can see, if I snap it undone like this right now and then just put the iPad on, giving me a heart attack messing around with this. It's on, it's working, and this works perfectly. Now, as a productivity tool, this is fantastic because yes, it adds a little bit of weight, but now I have that keyboard element and the trackpad too. So this is a really strong device. However, for my profession of teaching, there's a little bit of a flaw here. When I close this up, you'll see that the protection around the outside isn't very strong. Now, as you can imagine, as a teacher for younger children, I don't have the most confidence about leaving this on a table, which is ultimately what I started to do when I brought this into class. I would leave this on a table whilst I go and help another child somewhere else, and one of the big problems that I had is then looking and going, oh my gosh, what if a child is a child and accidentally knocks that onto the floor? So as a result, this then stayed in my bag, so I wasn't getting the full use out of this device. I know I said I kept it in my bag, but I did try it. It didn't work. However, whilst the Magic Keyboard is fantastic and is, very productivity focused and allows you to be efficient, there are other tools that then give me the productivity and efficiency while at the same time giving me the protection. Loigitech reached out to me and offered to send me a few things to try out, and of those things, this was one of them. This is the Loigitech Folio Pro for the iPad 11 Pro and essentially becomes an extremely strong productivity tool too. It doesn't have the trackpad built in, but they also sent me the MX Master 3 for Mac, which also works with the iPad Pro, and it's a really strong productivity device too. Now, as you can see, around the corners, there are a lot more protection. So I immediately have the confidence to know that if I leave this on the table, as you will with teaching, the protection is there. So now when I'm teaching or getting things done, I have a lot more confidence to keep the iPad Pro in this without worrying about it too much. And that is the story with the iPad Pro. Now, it is a phenomenal tool and it is something that I'm beginning to use more and more. However, it is something that I've been really nervous about using, as I'm sure you guys can understand. This is an £1,000 product when you consider all the different accessories. So I didn't want to put this somewhere where it could get knocked over. So I'm hoping to share with you how I use this and things like that in a future video. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video in a weird way and it's explaining why I don't use the iPad Pro and why I'm starting to use it now. If you did, feel free to like it, that's always really appreciated, and then hopefully I will see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and until the next time, I'm out.